This week on the podcast, Carrie and I are talking about what it's like in the Disney universe when there's really no Disney news. All the clickbait sites and some of the funniest headlines I've ever seen. And then we're giving you our expert opinions on what's going on in the Marvel universe. Do you think we're experts? Stay tuned to find out. Hi, I'm Francine and you're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast, a podcast where our first topic of conversation will always be Disney. I've been a Disney fan for as long as I can remember, and I'm determined to bring more of that Disney magic into my everyday life. So if you need a little extra pixie dust in your day, you've come to the right place. Thanks so much for listening, and let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, Carrie.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
That's
it's cold. Trying to stay warm.
Is that why you have your hands up your sleeves?
I have my hands up my sleeves so that I don't move my arms around when I talk.
I'm always teasing you about that because you move around sometimes when you're talking, and then you get really quiet, and then you're really loud when you move in, and yeah, so I have to adjust the volume.
Not so much now that I have my fancy dancy microphone, though.
I know. Now that you've got this fancy microphone, you sound really good.
Except I struggle with plugging it in properly sometimes.
If only people knew
that you're high tech and I'm low tech.
No, you have the high tech equipment. But if
I'm a low-tech user. There's often user error.
What is it they say? The problems between the chair and the computer. If only they knew all of the bloopers and how many times we start the podcast only for your mic. I don't know what happens. You plug it in, all is going well, and then we're like 5 minutes in, and it just stops working.
I blame my laptop.
I think it might be your laptop. Or the dock. We went through that whole thing where we thought it was your dock, right?
Yeah, I think when I plug it into the dock, it happened. But I have it plugged directly into my laptop.
Yes.
See, these new fandangled laptops don't have very many ports.
Well, that's the other big
problem. So my newest laptop doesn't have very many ports. So, hopefully if they stop working, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Well, you sound good. It sounds like it's working. So, and
fingers crossed. Arms crossed.
Arms are crossed. The hands are up the sleeves. So that's all good. So we were going to talk about some news and different things today. And there really is not a lot of news in the Disney community.
Not really.
It's been kind of quiet.
Yeah, nothing too exciting. There's been a lot of coverage of the Festival of the Arts.
Yes.
Which is neat. Lots of videos on YouTube and posts about things that's happening for that. But, I don't know. Merch and...
Yeah. Nothing...
Just the regular stuff, right?
I mean, yeah, except I think I did see the breaking news was that I think Donald is back.
Oh, what?
In the Three Caballeros, I think he's back. Remember, they put up a cardboard cutout, unless I dreamt it. But I thought the audio animatronics were back.
But didn't they take away all of them and put cardboard in?
Yeah.
So the three...
They took all three Caballeros out.
Right.
And
just
put
behind in the news.
Cardboard. Well, because it's hard to keep up with the saga that is the Three Caballeros in Mexico.
So now we think they're back.
I think unless I dreamt it, Carrie, which is quite possible because it's been very top of mind for me. So I had to break in and correct myself. I honestly must have dreamt it. They are not back. They are still cardboard cutouts. So, Carrie, you were not behind on the Disney news.
That's good news.
Well, this is the thing. So when news is quiet, it means that all of these other, the blog sites and the massive, media sites have to come up with ways to get you to click on their site. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of, why it's called clickbait. And we joke about it, obviously not on the podcast, but we're thinking that this might be a good segment for future episodes. Because what I'm thinking is I'm going to start collecting some of the most bizarre clickbait headlines that are out there that are kind of funny. Like, it used to be that the clickbait bothered me. Like, it would really infuriate me because they would just stir up so much stuff with their titles. Now, I think it's kind of funny. Like, some of these are... So I'm going to start collecting them. So what I did today was I went through and found a few that I just think are funny. And especially knowing why they're doing it. And I wanted to share some with you.
Hit me with one.
All right. This one was... like, I can't make this stuff up, but yet people do.
How did you... Okay, tell it to me and then I'll ask questions later.
Oh, what's with you in the questions? You can't just take it for what it is. Okay. This is on a Disney-focused blog. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, like, Disney's in their website address. And the headline reads, Ant-Man, Paul Rudd's secret to never aging has been revealed.
I'd click that.
And Carrie, honest to goodness, it was like the Inquirer. Remember the Inquirer? Is the Inquirer still around?
I think so.
It's like that magazine that was all the UFO sightings and like weird stuff.
Elvis is alive.
Exactly.
Ontario. Yes.
So, or he's living in a piece of toast or something like that. That's what this reminds me of. So it's his secret to never aging.
So, what happens when you click?
Well, and this is the part that bothers me, right? Because I didn't want to click all of them because then I'm giving them clicks. But they, so they've got all these pictures of him like side by side. So apparently, I think he was in Clueless back in 1995. I wasn't a big fan of that movie, so I didn't remember that. But they have pictures of him like Clueless versus now. And I don't know that there's really an answer. It's just
They're
pictures.
just showing that he looks the same.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So there's that one. Same blog.
So there's no like secret that he has got the fountain of youth in his backyard that he's,
Nothing.
eats 12 cups of spinach a day.
Like Popeye or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, nothing. There was another one where a TikTok star so this blog has written that it's not even a TikTok star, it's just someone on TikTok claims that Scar in The Lion King ate Mufasa.
That's National Enquirer.
Right? National Enquirer. November 12th, another site claimed, we will soon learn the opening date for Remy's Ratatouille adventure. So it was a big leak. And when you click this article, it tells you there is a chance that we might soon discover the opening date of Epcot's upcoming attraction. The D23 Fantastic World celebration is being offered virtually. Part of the event is a live discussion. Hopefully this includes an opening date. That's the article. Wow. The entire article.
That is perfect theme park clickbait right there.
Right? So that was posted on November 12th.
And we still don't know.
And we're now in February, and we still don't know when it's opening.
That's a pretty far reach. Like, that's
yeah.
to put a story out there. Or
right?
A blog post.
And then there's, of course, the breaking news. So right? So the day after the inauguration, it was breaking news that they were adding a new president to the Hall of Presidents.
Oh, yes, I remember. You ranted quite a bit that week over that one.
So there was that one. Now, what's shocking to me is how many of these are what I used to think were reputable sites. So, Carrie, are you aware of what resort you should stay at based on your horoscope?
Shut up.
I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding you. This website that I used to consider a highly respected source of information that I would put on some of my ears to read has an article called "Which Walt Disney World Resort Should You Stay At?" based on your horoscope. But the favorite ones are the ones for me where they start rumors that are completely unfounded except for the fact that one fan might have said it. So it could be you and I saying, I think they should take the Monsters Laugh floor out and make it a Indiana Jones meets the Temple of Doom. And that could be an article. So this one is calling for a Disney fan calls for WandaVision to take over the Carousel of Progress. Like, come on.
I'm going to tell you, though, for a split second, like, that scared me.
Did it?
Yeah. Like, honestly, that is an overlay that could happen.
No, it could not. Do you think?
I don't know.
I think
different
that's...
scenes, different eras, different genres of TV sitcoms.
So I'm thinking that this might be something of a segment that we could do in future episodes where we'll collect some of them that make us giggle because they have to make us giggle because they're just so crazy.
I forget them though. Like there's so many things. But I just
that's
forget
what
them.
I'm saying.
We jot them down.
Like we have to actually make notes to put them down, right? I think.
Yeah, I especially loved your ranting about the Hall of Presidents, that it was breaking news, but they do it every time there's a new president.
Well, it's called the Hall of Presidents. It just
breaking news. It's closed.
It's closed for refurbishment as they are, and it was like shocking news that they were at. It was insanity, and yet so many of them had it. There is also
slow. Like if it's a slow
slow news
week, even in theme park news, so
they got to come up with something, right?
Mm-hmm. And so that's what it is.
There was a big video about a TikTok user, who shared a video of her. The headline read, "Disney World," which irks me because they're not calling it Walt Disney World. Like, get it right. Disney World guest falls in water on Splash Mountain at the Magic Kingdom. So I click the link to make sure. Is this false news? What is it? And it's a TikTok user, so they must have gone and got a video. Mm-hmm. And this person shared a video of her falling in the water while she tried to capture video as she was being evacuated. But here's the thing. They show you the video. The video's embedded on the site. I don't see her falling in any water. I don't see anything. She trips, and it sounds like she drops her phone, but there is decidedly no splash.
In that mountain ride.
There's no splash that comes with the phone. So... I guess you could, but she quoted on her TikTok that something like, I fell in the water or something like that. But you don't actually see her fall in the water. So
that's some thorough investigation you did.
Are you impressed that I was because it's kind of like a rat hole when you go down it. So I really want to hear from people what their craziest things are that they've seen. Sort of stirring things up where they're weird rumors or weird headlines that really don't speak to the story that they are. I think I would love to see some of that. So yes, we will make it a future segment for sure. But the WandaVision and Carousel of Progress, I was like, what? Now, Carrie, have you watched WandaVision?
No.
No. You're up to like episode 4 or 5?
I think I just have to watch the last one. I might watch it after this. I find with I have so many questions about the Avengers because
shocking.
I don't because I never watched them and I was never a fan. And so I'm trying to become a fan because they're so popular, and they are good. I've started to watch them, but it's just they just make me wonder. Like I just have so many questions. It's an emotional roller coaster, and the WandaVision. It just does the same thing. I get confused because I know there's more to it, but I don't understand all the stories. Like it's like when there's Easter eggs and things that mean things, but you don't know what they mean. So I was contemplating stopping the WandaVision until I caught up on some of the
Marvel movies.
Yeah, but considering I'm only on I think I'm on movie number 4 right now.
You're 4 ahead of me.
It'll be
I think. Well, no, I've watched one. What's the one with the little Groot guy? I've watched that one.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I've seen that one.
So that one is like a Marvel superhero dude. Like this, it goes together with this, right?
Yeah. I think. I don't know. You're talking to the wrong person.
I know. You know what, Carrie? We're so bad at this. Like for Marvel stuff, we're bad.
I can't believe you're watching it because you like.
Well, I'm confused by it.
That's
honestly.
why. Like, why would you? You should just skip it
because it's only 20 minutes. Like, really, it's not long. But so Jamie, our friend Jamie, she's a huge Marvel fan, and we actually had a craft afternoon this afternoon. We got a bunch of. Well, you arranged this because now I'm a crafter. You arranged this Google chat where we get on the call and we're just all crafting together. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because
afternoon ever.
Well,
what else do you do when you're not allowed to go anywhere?
I know.
Visit any of your friends, see your family.
I know.
You chat with friends. Yeah, Google chat and craft.
Yes.
Anyways,
it was good.
Back to Jamie.
But it was clear how we have very different styles about watching these kind of things. Mm-hmm. So you have 101 questions for Jamie about how WandaVision came together, who she is, what her backstory is, how does it fit with these other movies, what's the Easter eggs. Do you know what I asked Jamie when I texted her last week? My only question is Wanda a good guy or a bad guy? Do I want to like her or not? That was really the depth of my question. And she responded with, "We like Wanda." I was like, okay.
My questions to Jamie when I've been watching the movies, they're funny. I send her, and I try really hard to I have questions, but I usually think of a few more crazy questions. I think I've sent her 3 or 4 questions every one I've watched, and I because I have questions about why things are a certain way. Well, if they're all so powerful, why didn't they take down that Thanos guy way ahead? Why do they gotta wait all those movies and you trying to tell me all those superpowers together can't take this dude down? But apparently it'll all come together as I keep watching and I'll understand why he's so powerful. But I don't know, Captain Marvel, she's got crazy. What
do you mean? So Captain Marvel is a person?
She's a girl superhero. There's Captain America and then there's Captain Marvel.
I did not know that.
She's very so that's I think when you watch
so
it.
Look at you teaching me some Marvel stuff.
When you watch it in in the Marvel order, not the movie order or whatever. I don't know. Whatever way.
Is there some weird is there a different way that you're supposed to watch the movies?
Yeah, I think
a different
you can
order?
watch them. You could watch them in order of you watch them in timeline order. Or you can watch them in other, there's probably a couple ways, but I'm
Are you sure you're not
mixing
this up with Star Wars?
No.
Star Wars has a chronological order, and then they have the release order and all that stuff. Are you telling me Marvel has the same thing?
Okay, so Captain Marvel is a newer movie. It's got that Brie Larson gal in it, right? That movie's fairly new, but it's the second movie in the Marvel in the timeline because they if you were going to go by when the movies actually were. When I was talking to Jamie today about the timeline for Marvel movies, so I asked Jamie today this whole Marvel universe, how many years does it span? And she was explaining to me the 5 years between the last crazy movie and the second last crazy movie, whatever they're called, Endgame and Infinity War or whatever. But I was asking the timeline across all of them. like after Captain America wakes up from being frozen. What's the timeline from then till the end?
See, it does sound like Star Wars. Captain America's frozen. Like if they put him in the carbonite or whatever, then he'd be Han Solo.
So the movies are, so Captain America is like during the war, like that time, right? So then he gets frozen, and then he's like present time.
This
and that's
is why I was confused, because
that's why Captain Marvel is. So she's the second movie, but it's if in that timeline. But it's really a newer movie. But if you want to watch them in order of the timeline, so you understand, I guess you see the story and how it connects or whatever, then you can watch it that way. You could watch them anyway. I think that if you wanted to like follow along.
Yeah, but how can you watch them anyway if they all sort of string together?
I think if you're kind of like, is she a good person or a bad person? I think that person could watch them in any dang order they want. But if you want to be like, how the timeline for this, is it 20 years? Is it? And then I was like, so like the outer space land, like wherever Thor lives.
Oh my god!
Is that in current time too?
Because you have to like analyze it to death. You need all the backstory. We're going to title this podcast episode "Two Non-Marvel People Explain the Marvel Movies."
Explain the Marvel universe. It's a universe, Fran.
Oh my goodness! How on earth you know that our friends are listening to this episode and rolling their eyes at how badly we're
rolling? They're probably cringing.
Well, today, one of the girls on the call was like, oh, Jamie, the movie about the war is on or whatever. And that was all I heard. That was how my brain processed what she said. And I'm thinking, I didn't know Jamie was a history buff. And I literally thought it was like a movie about a war, like a real war. And then about half an hour later, they started talking about Marvel stuff, and she's like, yeah, and the war, we're just at the part, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're talking, and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want them to make fun of me.
It was kind of funny too when I was asking my questions, and the two of them were discussing it, and they were kind of like talking in code, like as if it was going to spoil something, and I'm thinking like, there's nothing that can spoil it.
They're like, it was like they didn't want to reveal something to you. Although I will say, so I have watched this week's episode of WandaVision, and I get that they were trying to protect you from something, but I don't know that I understand what part it was. But
the way that I feel about the Marvel movies is that, knowing Jamie loves them so much, and she just knows everything about them, and she loves them. Like, there's times, like, even with the Infinity War movie or whatever, I just got her to tell me all about it when it happened, because everybody was talking about it, and everyone was, covering their eyes and plugging their ears so there was no spoilers. But I just came in and I was like, so what happens? Because like, if I do watch them, I'm 20-something movies away from it, so I'm okay with kind of, and, having those fun discussions with her, because I'm beyond the point. Like, I'm not worried about spoilers. I just want to understand it and really make a decision about whether I'm a big fan or not. I'm a fan of too many things. I need the Avengers universe or Marvel universe or whatever the heck they are?
Yeah, like, I can't figure, I don't know. I want to like it. So I'm watching WandaVision hoping it's my route in. And I'll be like, oh, I gotta watch all this other stuff. But I don't get it. Like, it just, the whole thing is like, I told you, I think the first one, it made me think I was watching I Dream of Jeannie, or I Love Lucy, like just that kind of show. And then like, each week this week, the biggest thing that bugged me this week was trying to figure out what sitcom they were in. And I was probably 15 minutes in before I pieced together which one they're in. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'll let you rack your brain trying to figure it out too.
Listen, all I can say is if this Marvel Vision, WandaVision, the Marvel Universe, if this WandaVision makes you go back and watch all those Marvel movies, I'm going to be cheesed off, because I send you a YouTube video that I want you to watch, and I ask you 5 days later and you haven't watched it yet. So
you're right, because we were talking...
So for real.
Well, that's the thing. Like, who has that kind of time to sit and watch? That's like 24 hours of TV or something, isn't it?
You watch them when you're crafting. Although I've tried to, that's how I've been watching them. So I've really watched them all a couple of times because when you're crafting and focusing or doing whatever you're doing and you miss a lot. Like, you got to pay attention to these things. They're action-packed, but I think you have to pay attention. So you really...
Yeah.
Like,
but how do you do it while you're crafting?
I watched Iron Man and I really still don't understand what that thing on his chest.
I heard you asking them. So Iron Man, he's Robert Downey Jr., right?
Yes.
Okay, so I like Robert Downey Jr.
You should watch it. You'd like it.
I probably would. But I heard you asking them, is it like a bulletproof vest or something that's on his chest?
No, something happened with his heart, and they put this thing in his chest. But like when he's walking around his like laboratory, his lab, he has like a t-shirt on, and it's got like a cutout so you can see this glowing thing in his chest. And I was like, is it solar powered? Why does he have to have it showing all the time? Like, can his shirt cover it?
Yeah.
But yeah, you should watch Iron Man. I think you'd like it.
I probably would. But isn't there like 5 Iron Man movies or something?
I think maybe I don't know if you have to watch all of them. I don't know that there's 5 of them. I think there's 2 or 3 of them.
Like, does Iron Man ever go in a movie with the little fox guy? You know, the one that they play like the 80s music and stuff?
That's a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Like, don't they come together? Like, don't they all come?
Raccoon. Is that what you mean?
I think so, yeah. I like him. He's cute. But I feel like it's got to be, like, this Guardian, like, the galaxy or the superheroes or whatever. Like, do they all come together in one movie?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they all do, but that's what that big Infinity War is when I talk about that Thanos dude. Like, they all have to, like, they're all come together
in that.
To try to take this dude down. So all those powers against one guy with this glove. He's got like bedazzled glove. It's gold with
that's the glove. There was the big oh my gosh, the big balloon. Remember when we went to the expo and they had the big balloon and I didn't know what it was, and Jamie was all excited. It was the glove. That was the glove.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I think we should title this that we totally massacre the Marvel Universe.
The massacre of Marvel Universe. That's our own version of clickbait. We'll get people to tune into the podcast by telling them that Marvel, we haven't mastered it. We massacred it. That's what you were saying.
Mastered. No, the clickbait is that we've mastered it.
Oh my gosh, Carrie.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we covered it.
So yeah, Marvel fans, we might not be, but we'll give it a good try.
Well, you gotta just, like, I'm just gonna watch WandaVision until I get it. But you keep watching too. We'll have to talk about it after you've seen it. So no spoilers here for anyone who hasn't seen it. Yeah. But I'd like to hear who's watching it. Now, we did say we were going to go through this. We didn't want to do a long one this week, and then we get off on a tangent about... We had no desire to talk about some of this stuff, and then it just kind of happens. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do that, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Well, we needed to talk for a little while. It's not like we were going to just talk for 15 minutes and be done.
But it was funny.
It is funny.
It is kind of funny. I really want to figure this stuff out. But we are going to do that segment. So back to the thing we were going to talk about, which was all of the clickbait. So we're going to do that in some future episodes. So I'd love to hear from anybody that sees some clickbait online to send it in so we can have a good giggle over it.
I think after this, we're probably going to get a request for a Marvel episode.
You think?
Yeah. Because how could they not want to hear more?
How could they not want to know what's going on? I'm telling you, our friends are going to, like, disown us. They're going to be like, that's it, you two are out. We're not talking to you anymore. Jamie's going to stop answering our questions.
She's probably embarrassed that we've made... She's probably embarrassed we've mentioned her name so many times in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Well, we do want to hear where everybody's listening to the podcast, so that's kind of important. Send us your pictures, tag us where you're, showing us where you're listening to the podcast. Kimberly tagged us. She was making some Disney-inspired food, and we were accompanying her in her kitchen while she was doing that. So
that's fun.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun. It's fun to see where people are listening to us from. Okay, Carrie, I'm going to ask you for your pixie dust. I did ask you before we started recording, and it was kind of one of those, you do that. I do that too. Sometimes during the week, I'll think to myself, oh, I got to remember this. This is good pixie dust. And then I forget it when we sit down to record. I should write it down. And that's what happens to you like almost weekly.
I even have a notebook. I just never open it up to jot down the stuff at the right time.
But you're the organized one. So you're the one that's always telling me, we should make a list. Who? We should make this list. We should have this, I wrote it down somewhere. And yeah. So did you remember what it was?
Yes, I did remember.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
So what brought me lots of joy this week was on, I have a Sirius XM membership. I listen to it through my computer. And they have an Aretha Franklin channel. So they have limited channels. So they'll have just different people, but they'll have limited channels. So she might be on for the month.
Right.
Anyways, I found it, and I was listening to it like all week long when I was working, like earphones plugged in, and I'm like, it just brought me so much joy. And
it did.
It got me through the week, and it's probably and sometimes they have these channels and they're awesome, and then they go away, and then you get kind of sad.
Right.
So I'm gonna listen to Aretha as much as I possibly can until her channel goes away. But I was singing along. I think I even sang to you this week.
You did. You did. You did. And at one point I messaged you something and said, "Are you free? Can I call you?" And you were like, "Hang on, I gotta turn off Aretha first."
Yeah, it's awesome. So that's wonderful.
Good. That's really good.
Because I'm always thinking about pixie dust, like something that I've bought or whatever, and this
can be anything.
That's right.
It can be anything as long as it makes you happy. I think that's the thing. You
forget about you forget. It's easier to think, I got a new sweater or whatever, a new mug, but there's probably lots of pixie dust like that I don't even think of a lot of the times. But the Aretha one was good because I know I was being silly well, because I did not want. But you asked me a question on the chat, and I said you better think.
Yes. All of a sudden, I was getting answers that were song lyrics. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she lost her mind."
Anyway, so that was my good. Pixie dust. So, what was your pixie dust?
That was good. I actually have 2 pixie dusts this week.
Oh wow!
Oh yes, I know, fancy, right? So the first one was a song. So our lovely friend sent me a song and said that it made him think of me when Dolly Parton released a song called 5 to 9. And it's about having a side hustle and doing, right? So it's a remake of 9 to 5. And it's about, having a side hustle and doing what you're passionate about from 5 to 9 instead of from 9 to 5. And, cool. So it kind of, my eyes were a little misty when he sent that to me. It was really sweet. That
it's your song. It's your anthem.
It's like my anthem. So if you haven't heard it, you should go and listen to it because who doesn't love Dolly Parton?
Yeah, like
she's just wonderful. So yeah, so it was very lovely. So thank you, Curtis, for sending that over. That was so nice. And then my second piece of pixie dust is I couldn't love him anymore. This week was my nephew Andrew's birthday. So got to spend some time with him. I actually crafted and made him like a little Winnie the Pooh thing for his birthday. Got to see him, have cake with him, and spend some time with him. So that always makes me happy because he's like the funniest person I know. He makes me laugh. And so it was a good birthday. We had cake. That's always good too. And so it was Andrew's birthday.
Andrew needs to be on the podcast. And I know he's listening. So, Andrew.
Talk to him. Tell him.
You got to be on this podcast. We can roast her.
Wait a minute.
There's got to be something.
And there's something
that we can chat about.
Absolutely.
There's probably a lot of things we can chat about. So.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Please.
I'll talk to him. Well, he listens every week. I think he's the only person in my family that does, but he listens. So yes, we'll convince Andrew for sure. Cool. Well, Carrie, always fun, always a good giggle chatting with you. And thank you to everyone listening. Make sure if you're enjoying it, you're sharing it, you're telling your friends and family. Leave us a rating and review. I love reading those on any of the podcast. Although I think only Apple Podcasts is where you can leave them.
I think so too. Just
I
Apple.
think so. Yeah. Like you can't do it on Google, can you?
No.
I didn't think
Maybe
so.
on Amazon. I wonder about the new Amazon.
Well,
podcast.
wasn't that a little pixie dust when you saw us on our faces on Amazon?
Sure.
When we showed up on Audible?
I was too busy grooving this week. I didn't pay that much attention to it.
Yes, so please make sure you share the podcast and tell others about us. Thanks again, Carrie. Until next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.